Welcome to Life Transformation Radio. This show is all about life transformations and our journey from where we were to why we are doing what we are doing today. We will discuss the hiccups, the roller coasters, and the blood, sweat, and tears that has been poured out while discovering our purpose. It is all about our transformation. Here is your host, Sean Douglas.
Good morning and welcome to another episode of Life Transformation Radio. I'm your host, Master Resilience Implementer, TEDx speaker, business positioning strategist, and author, Sean Douglas. This show is currently heard in over 70 countries, so thank you to those who are listening from around the world. Life Transformation Radio is all about our transformation. Here, we tell the stories of why we're doing what we're doing. We highlight that transformational moment that changed our lives and how we use it to then transform others and elevate their lives as well. You can listen to us live Tuesday through Friday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Today, I'm bringing you a very special episode. Think of it as lunch and learn. We are going to go live with my guest, Clifford Starks, here in 1 second, but I want you to subscribe to Life Transformation Radio wherever it is that you are comfortable listening to podcasts. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spreaker, Spotify, TuneIn, Player FM, Radio Public, Overcast, Castbox, the Himalaya app, and the Google Play Music app. Wherever you listen to shows, please subscribe to Life Transformation Radio. On the show, my guests are entrepreneurs, speakers, business owners, coaches, podcasters, authors, and amazing people that are having an impact in the world around them. And my guest today does exactly that. If you have any questions for any of the guests that I bring on the show during our live broadcast, you can call us up at 657-383-1109. Again, the number is 657-383-1109. And with that, please help me welcome to the show my guest today, Clifford Starks. Clifford, welcome to Life Transformation Radio.
Thanks, Sean. I appreciate you having me on.
Dude, I am super excited to have you on the show, man. What you're going to share with us and the way that your career went, I am blessed and honored to have you on the show, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you.
So the title of this episode is The Mind and Spirit of a Fighter with coach and professional fighter Clifford Starks. Clifford graduated in, how do you say that, kinesiology?
Kinesiology?
Kinesiology. We're going to talk about that for sure. I had to look that up to see what that actually was. So he graduated in kinesiology in 2005 and became a personal trainer. He also became a professional fighter from 2009 to 2017. It has always been more than just transforming the body, though. The mind and spirit play key factors to one's success, which Clifford definitely learned through his journey as a fighter and a coach. Clifford has been honored to be given the opportunity to work with many clients on their mind, body, and spirit, helping others live happier and more fulfilled lives. He realized how important the mind was in the process of accomplishing any real success. Clifford became extremely fascinated with psychology and also had personal life experiences to pull from as well. He is always learning and growing. His favorite saying is, if knowledge was all it took, everyone would have six-packs and be millionaires. Knowledge is good to have, but applied knowledge is better. So he continues to take action. To grow as a person and a leader is the same as your health. You never stop. And with that, to CliffordStarks.com and connect with him on his website. His YouTube channel, LinkedIn, and Facebook are there in the show notes. Connect with him and let him know that you heard him on Life Transformation Radio. So after reading that, I want to get into the first question that I have for you, which is the most important question that anybody could ask, is why? What is your why for what you do?
You know, my whole thing is I love helping people. I love helping them get to their greatness. And my why is almost kind of like my who. Who am I? My grandfather passed away when I was 6 years old, and it really resonated with me. And so from then on, I had so many little things that really resonated with me and really helped me become the individual that I am today. And that's where I look at life, and it's precious. It's a precious commodity, and we can't rewind time. So we can only focus on our now. And so the process is to continue to grow on yourself and to help others grow as well. But you have to grow internally before you can externally help other people.
Oh, I love that. So it's more inside has to be fixed before you can fix what's going on around you.
Yes, because when we're born, we have some people have more traumas than others, and life is one big journey at the end of the day. Everybody's got their own personal journey. Everybody has their own personal issues and problems that they have to deal with. And sometimes we let the external world take over our internal. And so we never get to where we need to go. Specifically, when I would coach people, it was they would let the external world dictate what they were. And internally, we're infinitely strong. We have everything we need inside of us. But we have to go through our own personal practice journey to understand that. It doesn't just happen instantly.
Yep, I 100% believe that. Absolutely. So talk about a transformational moment. I don't believe that anything happens by circumstance, by chance, by just, happenstance. I believe that every single thing in life happens for a reason. And a lot of times we find out that something in our past directed us to do something in our future has a direct correlation. Somebody was sexually assaulted, now they're a victim advocate. Somebody's family is in the military, so they become in the military. Somebody in their past was abused, by parents, or physically or mentally or sexually abused as a child, then they become an advocate for those that are dealing with those traumas and different things. So what was a transformational moment that happened to you that put you on the path to what you've done in your life?
So since it started with the death, and I like to say I've had a lot of terrible moments happen in my life, and I've had a lot of terrific moments happen in my life. And so with the combination of the two, I just want to give back to others. You're 100% right on that. Like those hard moments in your life really help define who you are, because you get to decide how you're going to look at the situation put in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I had, after that, I also, my biological dad left before I was about 4.5, 5 years old. So I call him the sperm donor. Nothing, not disrespectfully, but just I don't think of him as a father because he didn't do fatherly things for me. He just kind of left out of my life. And my mom remarried to a wonderful man, and he taught me what being a man was. He had me look in the mirror, and he said, whatever you do, take responsibility for your life. So for the good, for the bad, there's consequences to every action that you take. And that really kind of rung true with me. So the combination of taking responsibility in my life and also seeing that life just kicks you really, really hard sometimes. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, what do I do with this now? And that's where you get your strength. That's where you get your resolve. That's where you get back up and you just keep fighting, because life is kind of a fight. And it doesn't have to be a bad fight. It's a good fight at the end of the day. It's like if you conquer something that's difficult, that's rewarding. And even if 95% of it is difficult and you get that 5% reward, it was worth it. Like that's what makes it all worth it. We don't want easy lives. That's one thing that I've really learned through coaching is like people don't necessarily want easy. They think they do. They think they want to be comfortable. But at the end of the day, if they have nothing to show for or no purpose or anything, then it's just kind of like I didn't do anything with my life.
Yeah. Yep, it's true. So I have a personal movie question that I really I've had a couple other fighters on the show, and I'm fascinated by their answers about this particular movie. Are you a Rocky fan?
Yes.
Love it. Some of them are like, hell no, that stuff's fake. Like, no, and then others are like, no, that's awesome. I love it. My wife hates it. I love it. I love Rocky. My wife hates it. She's like, that's so stupid. And then I got another fighter friend, is a boxer, and he's like, no, I take Rocky down. That was ridiculous. All this switching, all this. I was like, dude, it's the essence of it. It's the, he's like, no, that would never happen in a ring. So they're like upset that the movie isn't real. And then others are like, no, it's the essence of it. Yeah.
I agree with you, Sean. It is the essence of it.
Yeah, man. Do you ever have people come up to you like, oh man, I used to fight, and like try to like get tips from you, like how to be a better fighter?
Sometimes that does happen.
Yeah.
And depending on how they ask me, I'll give them a pointer or two.
Nice. Yeah. Same thing with the other. I was like, do they ever? He's like, dude, you would not believe. Oh, you're a fighter. Hey, what do I do if? And they just like go to these like hypotheticals, and it's like,
yeah. Yep.
Yep. So from 2007 to 2011, almost. Well, it was the beginning of 2012. Anyway, 2007 to 2011. I was in my amateurish, had a couple fights, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And, being in the military is kind of just what we did. But I went 4-1. I was pretty happy. I went 4-1, and I got knocked out badly. Like I got kicked in the face real hard. I remember the foot. I don't remember hitting the ground. I got knocked out on the way down. That was my last fight.
Okay,
I stopped after that. Yeah, that was, because I thought I was king shit. I was like, ooh, I'm knocking people out. Yeah. And then a dude way smaller than me kicked me in the face real hard. And after that, I just was like, all right, well, I'm done with this. So kind of gave that up. It was cool while it lasted, but it hurt. I'm gonna tell you what, that hurt.
Yeah. It's not fun. it's fun being the one. It's fun being the one delivering the punishment. It's not fun necessarily taking the punishment. But I'll tell you, like, just off of what you said, being like king shit, fighting will humble you. Fighting will humble you fast.
Yes.
Yeah, fast.
Yep. Yeah, that was the dude. I always had a chip on my shoulder. Always. My mom, my grandpa, everybody's like, someone's gonna knock that chip off. I was like, oh yeah, well I'm bigger than him. Like I'm never gonna meet somebody who can knock this off. Like come get it, and then bring some people with you because they'll get something.
Yeah.
Like that was my attitude all my life. That was my attitude. I grew up in Detroit, like poverty, like middle class, like lower than middle class. Shoveling snow just to make money for the family. Like it was bad. And,
I got you.
I felt like I earned my stripes. I feel like I earned it. Like, come take it from me. Like, who are you? Come take it from me. And I never met anybody who could take it from me. I actually got jumped in high school because I had beat up these people. But then they all gathered, and then I got jumped in high school because I beat them all up one-on-one. And so they all came back to get me, put me in the hospital and all that. And I looked at it as, that's right. Took all of you. And I laid in the hospital with a broken jaw. I'm like, yeah, get some. And then after I got knocked out, I'm like, yeah, I'm done. I'm okay now. I got humbled real fast.
Yeah, what's so cool about that process to me is so I came from humble beginnings, and honestly, death really humbled me. That's like the point of no return. And so the one thing I always realized is we're all going to do that. We're all going to be 6 feet under one day.
Yeah.
And people find their humbleness at different times and different stages, and that's fine. Like before, I used to fight against that. Like I'm going to humble people. So in essence, it's kind of ironic because me being the hero versus the warrior, I like to call it. Like, there's a hero in us and there's a warrior. And the warrior lets the world be what it's going to be. And the warrior does right by the world and just lets it be. Whereas the hero has to fix everything. It's just like, no, we're going to fix this. We're going to make this better. No, everyone's doing everything wrong. This is the right way. And so it creates this unnecessary friction. See, the warrior creates no friction. The warrior just is. And it makes other people want to be better. And that's the beauty of the warrior. It's a powerful thing. And so it's not to say that my hero doesn't come out sometimes, because my hero is going to come out from time to time. But it is to say that I always do my best to default to my warrior.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And you had a great run too. You know, as a fighter, you had it's so cool that I get to do this show, because I've watched you. You know, I remember. Shoot, it was probably 100 UFC fights ago. It was a BJ Penn. I forgot what it was.
Oh, with Ed Herman.
It was 20. Where was I at?
BJ versus Nick Diaz.
Yep. Yep. And you were you fought Romero.
Yeah.
It was solid, man.
I felt good in that fight too. And then the guy's explosive. He's super explosive.
Yeah, I think that was the last fight I watched really of the UFC, unless it was like Brock or like somebody like that. But man, it was like ooh, like this is like, oh boy. And then I watched the one with what was that one? Kobe in 137.
Oh, Kobe, yeah.
In 137.
Yeah,
that
Jacoby,
one was.
Yeah.
That one was, bro. Dang. That one went a couple rounds.
Yeah. I felt really good in that one.
Yeah. So I mean, dude, I love it. You had nine fights, right?
I had about 17 total fights.
Yeah.
And I ended up going 14-3.
Yeah.
14.
Okay. Yeah. In the UFC, I've only seen, I think, 8 or 9 of your fights. But I just remember, I was like, holy I want to have a for real like UFC fighter. I'm like, this is so cool. Like, this is like amazing. Because like it's so like I had Bruce Buffer on the show when I first started the show. I had Bruce Buffer on the show, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is so amazing. And I started the show in 2017. Yeah. We had a really great talk. Got into like, what are the fighters like? I mean, are they like these machines? Like they're just like, they're like normal people. I'm like, for real? Like I'm expecting, like not normal people, like just athletes and machines and just like up at 5, just crushing the day.
Yeah.
But it's true. You guys are normal people who just happen to be an amazing athletic conditioning.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Because you get to that level, you're going to be, even with the trash talk, some of them have. I mean, I know some of them trash talk a little bit more than others, but they all respect. They respect one another. We all respect one another because it's not easy to get to that level. Like you have to be really humble and you have to do things you don't want to do sometimes. Like you don't want to get up early in the morning to run hills and do all the things that you have to do to be at that state. And so it gives you a new respect for things.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I want to do is go into your brilliance, man, and how you really put together that mind, body, and spirit coaching and get people to live more fulfilled lives. I believe that we have a crisis in the world, not just in the U.S., but in the world, where people are not living fulfilled. They're living according to what other people think about them. They're more concerned with what Clifford thinks about me than what I think about me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like,
Absolutely.
so how do you get people to really hone in on the mind, body, and spirit so that they can capitalize on success?
The biggest thing, because there is an internal and an external factor, they have to surround themselves with the right people first. They have to surround themselves with people who are going to build them up instead of break them down. And so if you put it just all on yourself, it's probably not going to work. If you are heavy set, for instance, I'll give a perfect example. If you have someone who's like 300 pounds, right? They're obese. They need to change their diet. And they have a bunch of crap in their pantry, a bunch of crap in the refrigerator, and they're around a bunch of crap all the time, and they try to forcefully will themselves out of that situation, it's probably not going to happen. So they're going to have to build some sort of plan. They're going to have to start cleaning the refrigerator out, start cleaning the pantry out, start getting all of that crap away from them. They're going to have to put themselves in a situation to make them more successful. And that's the start. And then from there, it's about practicing certain steps. And it's not even a lot of steps. Like, I think sometimes people overcomplicate things. And they say, well, if I wanted to do this, then I need this. No, you only need like one or two things. You just start with a couple things, and then you build your habits. Like, you can't build 8, 9, 10, 11 habits at one time, but you can build one habit, and then you can catapult off of that habit and continue to grow in the way that you need to grow.
Got it. Yeah, that makes total sense, man. And I think that has a lot to do with, even in the military, you know, if you're like winners hang around winners, right?
Yeah,
Troublemakers hang around troublemakers. Like attracts like. I firmly believe in the law of attraction. Like attracts like. You know, hate attracts hate. You know? And so you put out to the world what you want to receive back. And if your life 100%. Isn't going the way that you want it to, then you need to look at what you're putting into the world. And that's, I mean, that's the essence, right? So, so I appreciate that. Does it translate? Because I'm trying to figure out the military mindset into the civilian world. Because I work with some speakers and some entrepreneurs. I gotta think that it would be the same way. Because I was the same way when I first started. Like, well, what's MMA? And like, let me get into this a little bit. I took the same mentality from the military as I applied it there. It was die on the hill, no matter what. Give it your all, die on the hill. You must take that hill.
Yeah.
You can't give up.
Yeah.
So do you take that same approach in your coaching?
Yep. So here's the thing. When it comes down to people, it's you take a general situation and you make it specific. So since people work on metaphors, right? They work on metaphors. So if you can metaphorically explain the right story to them, or even if your story is similar to the situation they're going through, to make it make sense to them, all of a sudden they'll see a different perspective. Like, that's all it comes down to, is working on a person's perspective. And the funny thing is, people look at it and be like, oh, well, that must be easy if I just do. And like, no, it's not. Like, if you took a person and you told them to do 100 push-ups and they can only do 20 push-ups, and you said, no, do it like this. And then I decide to do 100 push-ups and go, see, just like that. It's not going to translate, like, because they're not there yet. So the mindset's the same thing, but people don't realize that. The mindset's the same thing. It's about habits and consistency. You can't say, oh, just think positive thoughts like this. And then, all right, I'll see you on your way. You know what I mean?
Do you not see what I'm thinking right now?
Yeah.
Do you not see my thoughts?
So,
come on, get it together.
That's where people get it in trouble. It's just like, so they look at it and say, oh, it's this easy thing. Like, not for that person, it's not. Like, they're on their stage. So they're at their stage. So I can't say that my stage is their stage. The same thing I had one coaching client, and he asked me, he goes, well, Cliff, what do you think? And I said, it doesn't fucking matter what I think. It's not about me. It's about you.
Yep.
And so I know what I would do because I've been in my body all of my life. But it's about you, figuring out what you need to do, how you need to do it. And so life is about, the one thing I always say is, you don't tell a person what they should be doing. You cannot tell them that, because they're going to either do it forcefully because you told them to do it, or they're just not going to do it because you told them to do it. You guide them into the position of their own greatness. If you guide an individual, they will make the right steps. And that's what I learned when I would coach people, because at first it was like, I'm going to force them into this thing. And I would get people in shape, and I would get them in shape quickly. And that was success. But success without internal fulfillment is nothing. It doesn't do anything. It destroys people.
Yeah, I firmly believe that. We always hear about the millionaires who are unfulfilled, and they're into like alcohol, destruction, and their home life is atrocious, and they look amazing on paper, and they look amazing on social media, and they look amazing in their company. Go home, and their personal life is destroyed. It's wrecked.
Yeah.
They're not living fulfilled, and the people who are depressed. We put so much effort. What do you call it? We put so much stuff on a pedestal that just doesn't matter. We put the money in the cars, in the house, like all these material things. We put them on a pedestal, but we haven't. I had my buddy Jonathan was on the show earlier in the year, and we talked about self-love. And he was talking about the mind, body, spirit all being one, and you must be connected, all that. And you'll quickly find out that those things doesn't matter. Like you said before, death really was like the humbling moment. Like, wow, I really need to take control of my life. Some people haven't had that humbling moment. So what do they do? What do you tell them? They haven't had that humbling moment. And how do you get them to realize that, look, man, one life.
Yeah, they say when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And so I look at things as, people, I'm not here to tell people that they need to listen to me. People will know when they're ready to listen to me. They'll know when they're ready to take the advice that they need to take. But I'm not going to forcefully say, oh, you need to do this in your life. Oh, you need to be. If I have a person who is buying everything on the planet and they're just like, I'm going to feel fulfilled and I'm going to do, okay, that's what they feel they need right now. I'm not going to be like, no, you need to be coached, man. You need to be, this is what you need. Like, okay, if that's what you feel like you need, that's what you feel like you need. When you ask me a question, I will answer your question. But until then, okay, we're not on the same frequency, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
So no unsolicited coaching.
Yeah, exactly.
You ever just been hanging out on Facebook and you're like, man, I really had the moment today. I was in the woods, I was walking, it was a really nice moment, and somebody's like, yeah, that's great. The person's like, oh my God, like I love the tree. And somebody way farther down is like, scientifically proven, and like you should be doing this like 5 times a day, and then they go scientific. You're like, dude, you just ruined it. All right, I'm never going to the woods again. Right?
Yep.
Come on.
They come on every now and again. Yeah, they come on every now and again.
It's just like, yep. I'm blown away at all of the moments that we have that we're so afraid to share because of what other people will think about us. And when we try to find fulfillment in other people's words, and we try to find fulfillment in actions of other people, I'm astounded at how often I do this. Well, my mom said I should, or my parents, or my friends think that I like. How do you get someone to just, without throat punching them, right? Like, how do you, like,
Yeah.
you don't need their approval. You don't
Yeah.
need
Well,
that person to say that, you're doing well. You're like that affirmation. People just want the
yeah.
affirmation.
Yeah. It's really, it's how you train it. And what's so ironically funny about it is so we have internal and external cues. And so if they're running so externally, right? So as a coach, they're running externally. They're expecting me to do a certain thing for them, right? And so I'm going to do what I do externally, but I'm going to build them up internally. And so when I build them up internally, when I build them up internally, those external cues don't affect them the same.
What do you mean they don't?
It's a process they have to go through. So it's a process they have to go through where they understand that they're the light, right? So they're the light, they're the power, they get to choose how they're going to perceive things. But until I get so there's a trust zone that needs to be established, right? So when they trust me enough, they start unloading all of whatever gunk they have in their head and in their body, in their spirit, right? And so what I do is when it gets cleaned out, they start functioning internally first, and then the external will become the reality that they want to create.
Wow.
So it's kind of crazy stuff, but there's when you can figure out, if you can figure out how the internal and external affect one another, right? Because they do. It would be like if someone spits in your face once, and you have a self-worth, you have a high self-worth of yourself, right? And someone spits in your face and calls you a loser, okay? And then all of a sudden, everyone's constantly doing it. You have to have a really strong internal base to be able to take something like that. But that's from practice. It's the same thing. It's from practicing it. The reason someone can do 100 push-ups versus the one who can do only 20 push-ups is from the consistent practice. So that person who did 100 push-ups can take a break for a while and actually not sustain the habit for a little bit, and they'd probably still be able to do 75, 80 push-ups, and they'd be able to get back to 100 much faster. So it's almost like you're the thermostat and you're not the thermometer. You're not just allowing the external world to dictate what you are, because your internal process is stronger than that.
That makes sense, man.
Yeah.
Wow. You can hear something 25, 50, 100 times. Like, oh, okay, yeah. But it's not nothing that we really haven't heard, but you put it in a way that I fully, completely understand and feel what you're talking about. Totally get that, man. And it kind of makes me wonder, am I doing that for my life? As you're talking and I'm internalizing, and understanding what you're saying, I kind of want, am I doing that for my life? Am I really the essence of it at the core? At my core, am I winning and succeeding in that area?
Yeah. My biggest thing is just getting the soul to think and to act, because we all know what we should be doing. That's what's funny about it. Like if I ask a person, like, what's healthy eating, what's unhealthy eating, like they might not get it exactly right because they're not a nutritionist or of that matter, but they have ideas. They have ideas of what they should be doing. And so I actually talked to one lady about her mom being obese, and I told her, it starts with self-love. Like, so an individual who gets to that state, they're just not loving themselves enough. It's just a true thing. And so when you give them the option to, like, when you take the time to just sit down and understand their story and really hear their story and say, wow, that's an interesting, like, there's a reason why people are what they are. There's always a reason. Just like you asked, the first question you asked me was, what is your why? So once a person understands their why or their who, then they can start moving forward. What I do as a coach is I teach you to take what you already have and use them as strength instead of as weakness. It's your story. That's the beautiful part about it. It's your story, and no one can take that from you. Like that's the beauty of it. No one can take your story from you. And so when I understand that individual story and say, oh, okay, well, let's just flip this way. And no, it's not an overnight thing. It's a process. But at the same time, it's a moment. It's a process and a moment. If you can stay in a certain place in the moment, that's all you need. Well, what if I get out of the moment? Well, do your best to just get back into the moment as soon as you can.
Yeah. Dang, man. That's power right there.
Thank you.
Dang, man. So let's do this. I want to give an opportunity for you to plug. So let's do, towards the end of the show, let's do a shameless plug. You can plug your website, programs, products, services, whatever it is that you want the audience to know or to do. Shamelessly plug. Go.
Okay, so if you want to get a hold of me, all you have to do is email me at info@cliffordstarks.com. You can also check my YouTube channel. I always respond to my fans, my friends. Honestly, everyone in my YouTube community really becomes my family because we learn from one another, we grow from one another. I go out, I do my best to service my family as much as I can and give them the best material they can have to help them in their journey with their conscious mind, their subconscious mind, and their mindset.
Man, I love that. So what is one take? Yeah, go ahead.
One other thing I do want to say, I appreciate you, Sean, because I did listen to your TED Talk, and it was a very nice TED Talk.
Oh, thank you,
man.
And
everything. Yeah, well done.
Thank you so much. I was super nervous. So it's fun to dream about the $1 million lottery ticket. It's fun to dream about what you do if, success happened or whatever, until it actually happens. Then you got to deliver. And I think what scares people the most is it's fun to dream, and it's fun to, I'll have that $1 million home, and I'll have these boat cars, and I'll do all this other stuff, and I'm going to be leading this $1 billion company, whatever. It actually happens. It gets real.
Yeah.
Then you show your true character. Right? And I'm sure you've seen the first-time fighters go in there. Solid dude, just, the nerves got him. You know what I mean? It was like it's that one, you get that first at bat, you're like, oh, God, don't mess this up. That's how I felt on stage, was like, don't mess this up. This is huge. This is my dream. Don't mess this up. Don't mess this up. It's like the first time I got deployed. The first time I was ever in the Middle East, I was like super nervous and like on eggshells and on pins and needles like the whole entire time. 15, 20 years later, I go to the Middle East. I'm like, let's do this. I'm ready. Same time, man. You step in the ring 17 times, like you, man. You step in that octagon, 15th time, you're like, this. I'm at home. Let's do this. Still got those nerves a little bit, but you're like, let's do this. I've learned to take my nervous energy and use it for positive energy. And at that TED Talk, it was like I couldn't get over. I was so nervous. And then I started feeling my way. I'm like, cool, I got this, But that was a dream come true, man. That was like, in my speaking career, that was a dream come true.
Yeah, I believe it. And so you bring up such a great point, because it's not that a person won't get nervous. You're supposed to get nervous. If you're not getting nervous in your life, then you're not doing anything worth doing. You get nervous because you care.
Yep.
If you didn't care, you wouldn't be nervous. If you're like, whatever. If I screw it up, I screw it up. Then you're not going to be nervous. You need to be a little bit nervous. Like when I do certain things, I'm going to be a little bit nervous, but I'm going to use that as energy to propel me in the direction that I need to propel it. I remember there was they had a story where I think it was biblical. I cannot remember. But so God gave these three guys different talents, right? So he gave one person one talent, he gave the other person two talents, and he gave the third guy three talents.
Mm-hmm.
And so the guy with two talents, he buried his talents. He held on to his talents because he's like, I don't want to lose my talents. These are the only two that I have. And the third guy, the number three guy with the three talents, he doubled his talents. So he had 6 times the talents. And the first guy with the one talent, he just kept growing on those talents, and he continued to multiply his talents. So the first guy with the one talent ended up having 10 talents. The third guy who started with 3 talents had 6 talents, and the second guy with 2 talents only had 2 talents. And so it's like you have to go out there and produce and multiply. You can multiply yourself. You can always get better. You can always move forward. You can always do more. And that's where take responsibility is for me. Take responsibility doesn't mean you run up to the mountaintop and say, I take responsibility. It means you do the things that you can do. You control the things that you can control. And when you can control the things that you can control, you start moving into your own greatness. That's all it is.
Damn. It's so good, man. Like I totally receive that, man. And it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
I love parables. I love like I'm an acronym and like parable and metaphor junkie. Like if you put it into those in the way of communicating, I'm like on it. I really get it. Like I love it. And I even speak that sometimes too. Like you remember that one guy who, this is what the result, and I totally receive that, man. I always tell people that you need to double down on the one thing. Everybody wants to talk about failure. Everybody wants to be afraid of failure. Everybody wants to be afraid of I didn't make it. What about the things that you are good at? Why are we not doubling down on those? Everybody was like, oh, that's a weakness. I got to work on it. I don't believe you need to work on your weaknesses. I believe that you need to double down on strength because that's your moneymaker.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
You got a weakness, and it will come. The weaknesses, they'll get better. As you get better, they will get better. But you got to double down on what you do well. And whatever you do well, either to drop it or outsource it in business, maybe in life. If it's not going well, then stop. If that job is dragging you down, then maybe you just got to leave the job. If that relationship is holding you back, maybe you got to leave the relationship. These are hard decisions that people just don't want to make.
Yeah. And I mean, you make a great point. It's the hard decisions that people don't want to make. Like, honestly, that's all a coach really does is it helps you with execution, it helps you with productivity, and it helps you with stress management. And it helps you move in the direction that you need to move into. But 100%, I'm 100% with you on that, Sean.
Perfect. Man, I really want to honor your time, and I really appreciate you spending time with the listeners today. Life Transformation Radio. I wish you the absolute best.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you having me on, and I appreciate you.
Hey, what is the one takeaway that you want the audience, the listeners, the people who are consuming you and the energy that we're putting out, what is the one takeaway that listen to nothing else from this episode? What is the one takeaway that you want them to know?
The biggest thing is there's greatness in you. It's always been there, and it's always going to be there. But it comes down to you to be willing to take the action and the sacrifice to make it show so the rest of the world can see it.
Boom. Nailed it. I love it.
Thank you, brother.
Again, man, thank you so much for spending time with us on Life Transformation Radio.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Life Transformation Radio listeners, an amazing guest impacting the world around him. If anything resonated with what Clifford today said, the conversation that we had, please go to cliffordstarks.com and connect with him. Subscribe to his YouTube channel. Connect with him on LinkedIn and Facebook, and let him know that you heard his episode on Life Transformation Radio. I want to thank all of the listeners for the support and love that you have given me, the show, the guests, everybody involved in making this show possible. Thank you from the bottom of our heart. And as I close, I always say, live your brand. Find opportunities every day to live out the core values that you hold deep in your heart. And I call this living your brand. So until next episode, live a great